He's a stand-up comic, a star of countless comedies, and a former writer and cast member on Saturday Night Live. His latest film, Daddy-Daughter Trip, which he also directed, is out now on Amazon Prime. He's here to talk about his new film and his Catholic faith. Here's my exclusive interview with Rob Schneider. Rob, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Tell me a little about this new family film. I mean, this is literally a family film, Daddy-Daughter Trip. You direct it and star with your real-life daughter, Miranda, and with cameos by your two girls. What were the origins of this project?
Well, I wanted to make a movie that had that Italian feel to it, where it was just a family, I love those movies, Cinema Paradiso and Il Postino. A movie that can make you laugh and cry, where you, as a family that has nothing, is just trying to get the best experience for their daughter, and going on a road trip with no money just sounded like a good idea, for a movie.
I want to give folks a little taste of the movie. Here's the trailer, and then I want to talk about this when we come back.
Champagne, madam?
Let me open it.
Go for it.
Little help? I'm not touching you.
I got this.
I love it. Hey, baby. Yeah. As you mentioned, Rob, family is important to you, not only in your film, but really in the many roles you've taken over the years. And it seems like Adam Sandler and Chris Rock and Dave Spade, your relationship with those gentlemen is also like an extended family. Why do you love working with those guys so much? I know you've been on the road with Adam.
Well, I mean, it's fun. It's more fun now than ever. I mean, we're all, they're all in their 50s. I just turned 60. I mean, at this point in your career, it's if you haven't accomplished what you needed to accomplish now, there's no reason for zero competition or anything. We've all had success, and it's nice to kind of look back and have decades of work together. And that's really special. And that really comes from Adam Sandler, because he's the workhorse behind so many of the things we've done. And there's a testament to how much he loves his family and his extended family. And also there's a trust. And whenever you're making a project that has a lot of people in it, you really need to have the trust that for somebody who you don't have to explain everything to, they'll just know and commit to it and have fun with it and have fun with you. Because at the end of the day, that's it. You want to be able to be on a set. If you're trying to make a comedy, especially, you really want to get people to laugh. And I think the audience can intrinsically tell if people are having fun or not.
Yeah, and Adam's wife plays your wife in the movie, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's terrific, and she loves working, and she's a really good actress, and I really wanted to have that family feel, and somebody that I felt really comfortable with. And Jackie's family is terrific in the film, and it's got a good, a really good moral to the film, which is just hanging on to your dreams, and even if they seem if it's impossible. And if you're doing it for your kids, it is possible.
No, Rob, watching it, it's sweet, it's hilarious. What do you hope viewers take from Daddy-Daughter Trip? And what do you find the audience hungering for, given the current cultural climate and the offerings?
That there's zero politics in this movie. It's just about a family. This movie could have been made in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, or the early 2000s, because it's just about a family that has nothing, that is trying to figure out a way to kind of, in a way, keep up with the Joneses. But the truth of the matter is, if there's a family that has love in it, then it really isn't about what you can give them, or it's what you try to give them, and give them the best that you can. And that's what that was a nice. The center of this movie is about that. It's tough out there, because, especially these days, because you can, when I was a kid, I mean, there was no internet, so we didn't have access to see what people had so much more than what we had. So now
Yeah.
the pressure's on kids when they, when we used to go home, the pressure would be over, the social school pressure. Now it just continues on your phone. So I think it's
Oh,
really
that's a
rough
great point.
for kids to
Yeah.
have to deal with that kind of pressure. And so this is about a little girl that's embarrassed because her parents, again, don't have any money to take them on a trip, for like a little spring break trip or something. So she lies and says she's going to go to all these amazing places. The dad finds out and he said, well, I'll take her anyway. And he just has just coins in his pocket. And it's nice. People really respond well to the film and they can relate to that because at the end of the day, everybody wants to do something for their kids. And then there's the reality of what you really can do.
Well, and what I took from the movie when I watched it, it really is about no matter where you take them, no matter what you give them, giving them yourself is really the greatest gift you can offer your kids.
That's beautiful. I really like that interpretation because I really feel like the best scene in the movie to me isn't any of the wonderful trips or the places that they go. It's when they're in a car looking at the stars saying, I love you all the way to that star and back 1,000 times. That's the thing. Because my daughter and I practiced that for 9 months before we did the scene.
Wow.
Just different variations of it. And I said, just see what happens that night. And don't worry about it. Just forget about the cameras now. So she was 8, and it was really important to not make her feel like it was work. So we never called action. We never called action. We just did this.
Slid into it. Wow.
Yeah, that way you really feel like, that's what's beautiful about the kids. And it's beautiful to see kids in movies, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so nice to see.
Their innocence is there, and it's natural. Yeah.
And we have the scenes between the two kids are really beautiful. And there's a really nice scene in there because after my dad passed away, I remember my mother said she used to have this my dad used to have this little pillow that he would sleep with. And my mom had, and I remember going, you're keeping that? And she just kind of, embarrassingly said to me, it doesn't smell like him anymore. And I was like, I broke my heart. And so I put that in the movie for the little boy who lost his mother. And
remember that moment.
And it's
that's a beautiful line.
So
now we know. Now we know where you got it. I love that. No, it's such a sweet moment in the movie. Christmas is right around the corner, Rob. Before we run out of time, I want to talk a second about your faith. I mean, you talked about your mother. Your mother was Catholic. Your father was Jewish. And you recently made headlines by announcing that you had converted or reverted to Catholicism. You once said that you strayed from the church, but Jesus Christ never strayed from you. What was the occasion of your return to faith? Was it a moment or a time?
I think it was several things. One of it was seeing the obvious darkness that's coming on the world now. I think it comes every 100 years or so, and it's approaching now. And I think you saw some of the organized evil. I don't know how else to say it during COVID and the coercions and the shutdowns and things that were just obviously bad and bad people doing it. But the thing that really awakened me to it was to not be fearful and to we were working on this beautiful script about the Shroud of Turin and the Egyptian linen burial cloth of Jesus Christ. And it was the last draft that I'd written on. It's about this true story about this woman from Cincinnati and this man who was a Benedictine priest, Joe Marino, and they fell in love. And she did prove that this cloth, when they did the carbon dating testing, that the French nuns who repaired this, can you imagine the nuns knowing that this is the burial cloth of Jesus Christ, their Lord, how delicate and how they would make this thing that the French call an invisible weave. And so when they tested into the carbon dating, they didn't put into their calculation this newer 16th century threads, which threw the carbon dating off. And then when you think about it's an inverse, and they've tried to dismiss this as a medieval relic, when in fact it's they would have had to be someone in the mid 500 years ago thinking about photography, and that would be invented, and this would be a reverse, this would be a negative, somebody would have to make a positive of it. It's only on the top 16th fiber of this, and everything that is talked about in the Bible, the blood that is on that cloth, it's everything that was described for what Christ suffered on the cross. And it gave me an awakening to this thing, which really what that cloth is a receipt of the sacrifice that Jesus Christ gave for the greatest gift to mankind, which is that ultimate of forgiveness. And so it really did awaken me, and I couldn't, when you just can't ignore it anymore. You can't try to go through your life and say, well, that's not real, this doesn't exist, and this is, the atheists believe that this is, somehow they cling to this idea that everything in the universe is just an accident, and our intelligence and our empathy and our compassion is just this weird freak accident. Well, we're not, and it comes from God, and I really believe that once you have children, they need to have a foundation and a faith and something that is bigger than them, that connects them to everything. And if you look at the societies that don't have that, whether it was the former Soviet Union, you see a hopelessness. And I really think at this time, as we enter this new age, whatever's going to happen, don't go through it fearfully, but go through it with faith, and go through it that it's preordained. And
Rob, a friend of mine commented when they saw that you had converted to the faith. They mentioned something that I've seen in all of your work. You have always had that joyful sparkle that only really comes from, I think, a grounding in faith. You see that those glints of it in all of your work, and look, that's the mark of. I mean, it's a mark of the faith, joy, and you can't manufacture that. And let's face it, you and I know a lot of comedians who are not the most joyful people on the planet. You don't have that problem. Is that a component? Do you find it now bleeding into your work in ways you never imagined? I'll leave it there before we go.
I don't know where this will lead me. I don't know what work I'll be able to do, or what work I feel comfortable doing from here on out. But I think, again, it's just an openness. I mean, the difference between faith and belief coming from the Anglo word, it's willfulness. It's people who have the strict fundamentalist form of thinking, whereas faith is an openness to the truth, whatever that is. So I think as I proceed to whatever's going to happen for me now is I just want to have an openness to, whatever God has planned for me, and, to take care of me and my family. And I feel pretty comfortable with this, and I feel at peace, and that's the most important thing. And I think that's what faith can bring you, is peace.
You bet. Well, Rob, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you for bringing us peace, laughs, and joy. And Daddy-Daughter Trip, directed by Rob Schneider, starring he and his family, is available to rent now on Amazon Prime and Apple TV. Merry Christmas, Rob.
Merry Christmas. Thank you, Raymond.
Daddy-Daughter Trip, directed by and starring Rob Schneider, is available to rent now on Amazon Prime and Apple TV.